When you stop talking to a woman, something very interesting begins to happen inside her mind. At first, she might pretend as if it doesn't bother her. She may act like your silence is nothing more than a passing phase, as if she has better things to do, or as if she barely noticed you've gone quiet. But the truth is, silence is never neutral. Silence speaks louder than words. And when you withdraw your attention, it creates a vacuum. That vacuum stirs her curiosity, and curiosity always grows into restlessness. Suddenly, the question she didn't think about before, what's he doing? Who's he talking to? Why isn't he talking to me? Starts to echo louder in her mind. This is where the shift of energy begins, because when you are always available, always engaging, always ready to respond, she had certainty. She knew exactly where she stood with you. She didn't have to wonder. She didn't have to think. And she didn't have to question anything. But the moment you step back and choose silence, you strip away that certainty. And human beings crave certainty. We are wired to want to know what's going on. And when that certainty disappears, it creates tension. That tension turns into curiosity, and if it lingers long enough, it becomes restlessness. Now, this restlessness isn't about missing your words alone. It's about missing what your attention represents. Your attention is a sign of value, a sign of investment, a sign that she matters to you. When that attention suddenly disappears, she starts replaying moments in her head, asking herself, did I do something wrong? Did I push him away? Why is he so different now? Your silence forces her into reflection. It makes her look inward and ask questions she never asked when you were constantly giving. And those questions create an emotional disturbance she cannot ignore. Think about it like this. When a song is constantly playing in the background, you almost stop hearing it, you take it for granted, but the moment the music stops, the silence feels deafening. That's how your absence works in her world. The very thing she overlooked when you were present suddenly become the very thing she craves when you're gone. Your laughter, your presence, your way of making her feel seen. Those details grow larger in her mind because now she's missing them. This is why silence is so powerful. It doesn't just keep her wondering, it pulls her deeper into her own emotions. She starts to feel restless, not just because you're not there, but because she realizes how much she valued you without even acknowledging it before. And that realization is far more powerful than anything you could say. When you stop talking, her curiosity turns into restlessness, and that restlessness makes her feel your presence more strongly in your absence than she ever did when you were right in front of her. That's the paradox of silence, and that's why it works. When your silence lingers, she begins to feel a discomfort she cannot easily brush aside. At first, she might rationalize it by telling herself you are busy, distracted, or just not in the mood to talk. But the longer you remain quiet, the more that discomfort starts to grow. It isn't simply about missing a conversation. It's about the energy shift that takes place when your voice, your presence, and your attention are suddenly withdrawn. People often don't realize how much space someone occupies in their daily rhythm until that space becomes empty. And when that gap is created, she feels it deeply, even if she tries to deny it outwardly. This discomfort is rooted in human psychology. Attention is one of the most powerful currencies in relationships. When you give it freely and consistently, it creates comfort. She gets used to the pattern of you being there, always engaging, always showing up. But when that pattern breaks, it disrupts her emotional equilibrium. It's like pulling away the chair she thought was always beneath her. Suddenly, she has nothing steady to lean on. And that imbalance leads to discomfort that gnaws at her thoughts more than she expected. She may attempt to fill that gap with distractions, telling herself that she doesn't need your presence to feel good. She may even lean into social media, friends, or other outlets to mask the shift. Yet deep inside, she knows it's not the same. The void you leave cannot be replaced by temporary distractions because what she is really missing is the certainty that came with your attention. That certainty was her anchor, and without it, she begins to feel unsettled. The most striking part of this discomfort is how it often shows up in ways she cannot control. She might catch herself checking her phone more often, wondering if you'll finally reach out. She might start scrolling back through old conversations, replaying past interactions in her head, and trying to decode why things feel different now. Even if she doesn't admit it to anyone, your silence takes up space in her mind, and the very absence of words makes her think of you more than your presence ever did. This is why silence is not weakness, it is strength. Silence places the responsibility of thought and reflection back onto her. It allows her to confront the weight of your absence without you having to force anything. She feels that shift in energy, and no matter how much she tries to act unaffected, the discomfort grows until she acknowledges the truth. She notices you're not there. And here's the powerful part: discomfort leads to action. When she feels unsettled long enough, it creates a pull inside her to restore balance. That's when she begins to miss you, not just in passing, but in a way that stirs her emotions. Your silence, instead of pushing her away, makes her feel the gravity of what it means not to have you in her daily life. That's the real strength of holding back your words, because in your silence, she begins to realize your value in ways she never did before. Curiosity is one of the most powerful emotions that silence creates, and when you stop talking to her, it begins to grow stronger with every passing day. At first, she may dismiss it, convincing herself that she doesn't care while you've gone quiet. She may even pretend to be relieved by the space, but human nature doesn't allow curiosity to stay buried for long. The mind craves answers, and when it doesn't receive them, it begins to search, replay, and analyze. That's exactly what happens when she realizes your voice, your presence, and your attention are no longer there. She begins to wonder why you stopped talking, and in that wondering, her thoughts start circling back to you again and again. Was it something she said? Did she do something to push you away? Have you lost interest? Or maybe, just maybe, you found someone else? The unanswered questions keep running through her mind, making her more invested in the silence than she ever was in your words. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was, because now it's her own curiosity doing the work for you. This curiosity also stirs up emotions she didn't expect. She might start reflecting on past interactions with you, replaying the moments when you laughed together, or even the times she might have taken you for granted. Every small detail that once seemed insignificant now feels like a clue she needs to decode. It's in those quiet moments when she's lying in bed or scrolling through her phone that the silence starts to feel heavier, pushing her to wonder what you're thinking and how you're feeling. And here's the fascinating truth. When curiosity grows, it often transforms into pursuit. The person who once expected you to chase her suddenly feels an urge to reach out, even if it's just to test the waters. She might send a casual message like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while." Or she may find subtle ways to get your attention without directly confronting the silence. Maybe she likes an old photo of yours on social media, or maybe she suddenly shows up in places she knows you'll be, or it's her curiosity leaking out into action, because the not knowing eats away at her more than she imagined. The beauty of this dynamic is that you don't have to force it. You don't have to explain, chase, or beg for attention. By stepping back and holding your silence, you create an invisible pull that her own mind cannot resist. She is the one doing the work now. Not because you pressured her, but because her curiosity won't allow her to ignore you anymore. And that's the strength of silence. It makes you think about you more, than your presence ever could. When you stop talking to her, one of the most unexpected things that happens is that she starts to feel your absence more deeply than she anticipated. In the beginning, she might brush it off, telling herself that she doesn't really notice or that it doesn't matter. But slowly, as time passes, the reality of the space you've created begins to settle in. The conversations that once filled her day, the small gestures of attention, and the energy you brought into her world are no longer there, and it leaves a gap she didn't realize would feel so noticeable. Absence, in this way, becomes a mirror that reflects just how much value someone brought into her life. It's human nature to only realize the weight of something once it's gone. When you are consistently present, available, and communicating, it was easy for her to take that for granted. She may not have noticed the significance of your words or your attention because they had become part of the background. But once they vanish, she starts to understand just how much they meant. That absence makes her confront feelings she might have been avoiding or emotions she wasn't ready to acknowledge. Silence has a way of amplifying what was once quiet, and suddenly she begins to recognize the void left behind. This absence also forces her to reflect on her own role in the relationship or connection. She might begin to ask herself why you stopped talking and whether her actions or perhaps her lack of effort played a part in it. Instead of seeing you as the one constantly pursuing or reaching out, she starts to wonder if she failed to appreciate what she had while it was there. That realization can be uncomfortable, but it also becomes a powerful turning point. She begins to see the difference between a man who was once present and attentive and the silence that now surrounds her. What's even more powerful is that absence doesn't just highlight what is gone, it also heightens desire. The longer she feels the gap, the more her mind fixates on it. She may not admit it openly, but she starts to crave the attention she once dismissed. This craving grows because it's no longer being satisfied, and instead of you chasing her to provide it, she begins to feel the urge to reach out, to reconnect, and to feel the silence that now feels heavier than expected. And the deeper truth is this: absence can create appreciation in a way that constant presence never could. Sometimes distance is what makes the heart realize what it truly values, and silence is the reminder that words and attention were never guaranteed. When you stop talking to her, something shifts inside her mind that she can't easily control. She begins to wonder about you. Curiosity takes over. At first, she may try to convince herself that she doesn't care, that your silence doesn't affect her, but the truth is, the human mind hates uncertainty. When someone who was once part of your daily rhythm suddenly goes quiet, it creates questions that demand answers. She starts to think, why isn't he reaching out? Has he moved on? Is he talking to someone else? Did he finally lose interest in me? These questions begin to circle in her thoughts, and the silence itself becomes louder than any words you could have spoken. This curiosity can quickly evolve into overthinking. The longer you remain silent, the more scenarios her mind builds. She replays past interactions, trying to pinpoint what might have triggered your decision to step back. She re-examines things she said, things she did, or maybe the times she didn't give you the attention you deserved. The absence becomes a trigger for reflection, and instead of you being the one analyzing her, she becomes the one analyzing you. And here's the beauty of it: when curiosity starts to mix with uncertainty, it often transforms into desire. She begins to crave clarity, and the only way to get it is by reconnecting with you. Think about it this way: when you're too available, there's no mystery, no reason for her to question or wonder. But when you pull back, you create that mystery. You shift from being predictable to being intriguing. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand, and in your silence, you've created a space that demands her attention. Instead of scrolling past your messages, She's now checking your phone, waiting for a notification from you that doesn't come. That anticipation is powerful because it forces her to invest energy into thinking about you. This curiosity also awakens her competitive side. If she thinks you might be giving your attention to someone else, suddenly what she took for granted now feels valuable. She may even begin to imagine scenarios where another woman is experiencing the same attention and effort she once dismissed. That thought alone can ignite emotions she didn't expect: jealousy, possessiveness, or even regret. And in many cases, those emotions are what drive her to reach out, to test the waters, to see if she still holds space in your world. So your silence isn't just silence, it's strategy. By not talking, you're allowing her to wonder, to question, and ultimately to miss you in a way she never would have if you had continued chasing or over communicating. When curiosity takes root, it grows, and eventually it pushes her to act. And that's the key. Sometimes by saying nothing at all, you end up saying more than words ever could. When you stop talking to her, one of the strongest reactions she will eventually feel is regret. At first, she might try to mask it behind pride, pretending that your absence doesn't bother her. She may even tell herself she's better off without your presence in her life. But as time passes and the reality of silence sets in, she starts to realize the weight of what she has lost. Regret creeps in, not suddenly, but quietly, in moments she least expects. It's when she scrolls through her phone and sees your old conversations. It's when she hears a song that reminds her of you. It's when she notices that the attention you once gave her is no longer there, and no one else is filling that void. Regret comes when she remembers how consistently you cared, how you listened when she needed to talk, how you gave effort without asking for anything in return. At the time, she may have brushed it off, thinking it would always be there, thinking you would always reach out no matter what. But your silence proves otherwise, and that realization cuts deep. Human nature often fails to appreciate what's consistent until it's gone, and that is exactly what fuels her regret. She starts to replay moments when you went the extra mile, moments when you showed up, moments when you chose her despite how she treated you. And the painful thought that keeps echoing in her mind is this: I should have valued him more. Regret doesn't just come from missing your presence, it comes from recognizing her own mistakes, her own failure to appreciate your effort when she had the chance. This regret often grows stronger when she compares you to others. She may start talking to new people, hoping to fill the gap, but she quickly notices the difference. No one gives her the same energy. No one makes her feel as safe, as understood, or as valued as you did. And that comparison only deepens her realization that what she lost wasn't ordinary, it was rare. Eventually, regret turns into longing. She may try to reconnect, sending subtle messages, testing the waters to see if the door is still open. But here's where your power lies. When she feels regret, she's no longer in control of the situation. You are. By choosing silence and self-respect, you've shifted the dynamic completely. She's no longer the one deciding if she wants you around. She's the one hoping she can earn her way back into your world. Regret is powerful because it lingers. It doesn't just fade overnight. It sits in the background of her thoughts, reminding her of what she let slip away. And in that regret, she begins to miss you, not just because you're gone, but because she knows deep down that she could have had something lasting if she had only valued you when she had the chance. And that's the moment your silence truly speaks the loudest. It shows her that losing you wasn't just temporary, it was a lesson she won't easily forget.